Hey guys, I thought today we might do a tour of the new boat. If you're a subscriber, you've probably already seen we've had it out in the lake a time or two. But if you're not, and you're just doing a search on YouTube because you're thinking of buying a boat, you're trying to get all the information you can, well, that might help you too. We're going to start out, it's a 1998 Bass Tracker Pro Team 165. I think what we'll do, we'll start the back end, we'll just work our way to the front. Start with the motor. It's a Mercury Marine Tracker 9.9 horse motor, and it's a 4-stroke. Now, I know first thing a lot of guys are going to figure, that's pretty small for a boat like this. And normally the Tracker does come with either 40, 25, or you can do the 9.9. But in my case here, I have probably 30 lakes within a 2-hour drive from me that we might fish, the largest of which is about 700 acres. Most of the rest are all under 200. Only 2 of those lakes can you actually open your boat up. Everything else is 5 miles an hour or electric only. So to me, the 9.9 was an advantage because 9 out of 10 guys that went to look at this boat thought the motor was too small, they didn't want it. I thought the 9.9 was going to work good for what I wanted, and I could wheel and deal a little better when I bought the boat with that smaller motor. Back compartment. Here we're going to have a 9-gallon built-in gas tank. We have your battery to run your motor. It has a 12-volt onboard with it to charge it, and then there are 2 batteries left for the trolling motor because that's a 24-volt system. There is no onboard for that. I was going to buy a new 3-bank onboard, and as you can see, there is just no room anywhere to put an onboard charger inside there. So I kind of came up with another idea. I did purchase a 2-bank charger. I don't have it installed in there. A little later I'm going to do a video discussing why I didn't install that in there. So I guess if you're not a subscriber and you want to see that, you'll just have to subscribe to the channel. Let's move on. Next step up. Livewell. In our case with the Livewell, we do not fish any tournaments, and maybe 2 or 3 times a year when we're crappie fishing, we might save a few fish that Bob wants to take home. So I decided, I put the stem down in there, the pipe in to stop the water from coming in. We're basically going to use this as just another storage facility. We can always pull it back out and use it as a live well if we want to, but I don't see twice a year you're going to use it for live well. We can use it for storage all year round. So that's no longer a live well, that's storage. Let's move up a little farther. All right, as we move up a little, front seat or passenger seat pulls up, gives me room. Another storage compartment goes all the way across. Dip net, rope, life jackets, pedestals for the seat, everything goes down in there, which gives us a good area. There's an oar down in there. Now I will say I have one long oar that will not fit, but I want to leave it long, and I leave it on the floor, and the main reason is probably 2/3 of the lakes that we fish in may have a ramp, but it doesn't have a dock. So basically you're pushing the nose of the boat up on the bank, giving yourself a shove off, and sometimes you need that oar to get you pushed far enough back out so you can drop the trolling motor. So I leave it laying on the floor, and there's just not a whole lot we can do about that one. Let's move up front to the rod locker. Okay, here we have our rod locker. I've also used this for now for the foot control for the trolling motor. You'll have no problem. Right now I've got 4 rods in. This is the longest one? No. 7'3" is the longest rod I have in. I've had no problem with that. We said I've got 4 in there. You could probably put, I don't know how many more you want. I might end up with 1 or 2 more next summer, but it also gives me a good spot for the foot control to keep that out of the way. I did add some rod holders. 2 reasons. One, once we're fishing, I want to take the dip net out, have a spot for that so it's easy to get to. And secondly, go back in here and take this stuff back out again. I like when I'm fishing to put 2 or 3 rods in behind me. So basically when I want to change rods, all I got to do is spin around, grab one rod, put another one down in. And I've always had a spot up front where I can set the rod in a hole when I'm taking the fish off. I'm hoping this will work out where I can just use the end one here, turn around a little bit. When I'm getting my fish off, I got a spot for the rod so it's not just laying down in the bottom of the boat where it gets kicked around or anything like that. On the other side in front, you'll notice I put a spot for my measurer, a ruler to measure your fish. I've got a clamp down there. I can put my forceps and stuff hanging. The way those are mounted, the plastic that you see right there, the 2 of them, basically that's a home improvement store. It's plastic and it's an outlet, electrical outlet cover. But it is plastic. So all I had to do is drill the holes out a little, put some bolts, run them all the way back through. I took a Dremel tool, take a little bit off the edges, and that would allow me to slide that in. Now I've got that where it's easy to get to it all the time. Up front here will be storage for lures. I have the 370 or 3700 boxes, whichever you want to call them. I have 11 of those in there and one small 3600. The reason this one sits under is where the pedestal comes down. You can't quite put a 3700 with a pedestal. This sits right in the middle where the pedestal is, no problems. And I've got 11 down in there. I gotta admit, I kind of wouldn't have minded having storage in front of me instead of all but behind me, but that's the way this one comes. Not much you gonna do about that, that's the way we have that. I did do one other thing to my seat, and that is I like to keep forceps and clips close by to me. That is a 88-cent cutting board from Menards. Drilled a couple holes, just attached it under the seat. On the other side I had to use a couple washers to balance it out, and then cut a couple grooves in there, took my drill, and basically it allows me to keep the forceps, clippers right close by. That way I've always got them handy. When I'm done, that can stay on. The forceps just goes down on the hook and hangs down there when I'm traveling around. Now let's go up to the front end. All right, this is the end that took the most work. As I said, this is a 1998 Pro Team 165. The trolling motor that came with it is a 2017 Minn Kota Power Drive 70-pound thrust, 24 volt with the built-in universal sonar. So the main thing was for me, I had 24 volt power up here, but I did not have any 12 volt power. Now, right up here is your spot for your navigation lights. And the guy said you could just pull that up, splice under it, and you could get in for your navigation lights. But then you have to turn on the switch. And secondly, when you turn on the switch for my navigation lights, all the dashboard lights come on. So I didn't want to do that. So what I did, and I'll turn this around a little bit so you can see it. You'll see a long channel running along the edge of the boat, that white. That is a piece of, I believe it's 3/8 inch, or maybe it's 1/4 inch PEX plastic. I ran my electrical wire up through there, tied into my fuse box where my other fish finder was, ran up under, brought my power up under here. This panel comes off. While I was inside and doing it, I went ahead and put in a cigarette lighter adapter so I can plug into anything with that, and then ran the power in for my fish finder at the same time. Okay, I do want to mention one thing real quick. This front panel right in here, about 6 inches wide, about 9 screws hold that in. You pull that out, it gives you access to get underneath. I did want to let you know, I took the Minn Kota was on here, was bolted straight on. I have a quick disconnect that I had on my other boat. So I took the quick disconnect off the other boat and I put it on here. The main reason for that is this has a cover, but the cover will not fit with this in place. So I thought with a quick disconnect, I can pull this off, set it down on the floor, put the cover on. Now, here comes the interesting part. You pull this little 6-inch wide panel out to get access, and it's great, except for it's solid aluminum across there, except for 2 holes about the size of a tennis ball. That's the only access you have. Now, the motor that was on here was 4 bolts. And what I did there was I had a 1/2-inch socket set with a breaker bar about this long. I had to buy a 7/16 socket deep well. And with my son-in-law's help, he could fish that up inside the hole, get it on the nut, and then I could pull the bolts. We got the other one off when I put the disconnect on. Instead, hang on, got it right here. I used these small T-shaped rubber deals. You drill a 1/2-inch hole, you drop that down in, it's threaded in here. When you put your bolt down and tighten the threads, it squeezes that down, tightens it in place, and then it's got the rubber, so it's got a little bit of movement to it too. But that saves you trying to get back underneath again to try to put a nut on the bolt. So that's the way I did the quick disconnect on here. If you're going to get up front, just be knowing you got 2 little holes for access. That's all you got. Well, I guess that's about it. The tour of the boat from end to end. Had it out twice. Only caught 1 fish out of it so far, but then again, it is in November, the beginning of December, and the water temperature's in the low 40s, so not the best time to fish, but hey, I'm going to put the boat in the water one way or the other. Thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to our channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.